Good afternoon, everybody. I'm just seeing if my slides might come up now. Hello, my name is Arda Gerkens. I am the president from the Dutch Authority on Terrorist Content and Child Sex Abuse Material online. With me is Volker te Bekke, my fellow board member, and policy worker Jasmine de Fréture, all really eloquent names. And I still don't have, I need to do it myself. Look, we're here. That just happened. It's in Dutch. I'll do it in English now. I'll go and tell you a little bit about our organization. We're quite new. We were established as an administrative body under the Ministry of Justice and Security in September 2023. We started with an administrative legal approach based on our General Administrative Law Act, which is Dutch legislation. We have investigative tasks, but we cannot prosecute. And we're not focused on persons, we're focused on the content. And that distinguishes us, I think, from the other regulators. So our legislation is based on the Terrorist Content Online Regulation, which is European regulation, and the Child Sexual Abuse Material Regulation, which is Dutch regulation. And what is child sex abuse material is based on Article 252 of our Dutch Penal Code. We're an authority. We can issue orders to make content inaccessible or take it down, and we can issue orders to providers of hosting and communication services. We can put in coercive measures, we can give penalties, administrative fines, and we can also publish the sanctions, so the kind of naming and shaming is in there as well. But we can also do a lot of research on the trends that we see, bad actors, and how this landscape is evolving or is structured. We also have the authority to share the information with police, public prosecution services, and intelligence services. And partially they can share with us, but logically not everything. Certainly not intelligence services. But this is very important. That means if we have built a case which we think is ready at some point for criminal prosecution, we can then share that information with police so they can take steps on that. And for us, the cooperation with the sector is key. We truly believe that we are here to help the sector to solve the problem online. We're not there to be opposite of you. We're here to support you with that, of course, to a certain extent. And how does that cooperation look like? So we have a sector council, which is a group of infrastructural parties in the Netherlands. Well, you can think of access provider, cloud community services, data centers. They're represented in there. And we speak with them a couple of times a year. We check our policies or the ideas we have just to make sure that we're not implementing policies which are basically counterproductive or which are impossible for you to execute. The platforms are not in that group because infrastructure is completely different. The hosting sector is completely different from what the platforms do. So with the platforms, we have regular talks, mostly one-on-one, because I know, and some of you are here, that you have conflict of interest, so you won't speak your mind when you're together in a room, but you will speak on the things that you can to push me to do something. So I'd rather speak with you separately, although we do have sometimes we meet each other. We're part of Gozern, which I think is a very valuable network. Already we see the benefit of that, of sharing information in there. We're happily part of INHOPE, so happy to be back with the family again, so we can input what we see and is happening in other countries, so you can pick that up. But we also cooperate with the European Commission and other stakeholders like the police, the Europol and Off Limits, of course, the hotline, and as well the DSA coordinator in the Netherlands. So just in short, the terrorist content online regulation, it means that we can give removal orders to any platform, or most of the time platform company, that publishes content on behalf of a third party. And that's all we can. You have to have your customer in the EU. And if you have customers in the EU, you have to need an administrative contact in the EU. And the country where you have that administrative contact is also the country who enforces the legislation further than just the removal orders. So basically, we can send out removal orders to any platform, being it X, Instagram, TikTok. But if we are having a deeper dive into that regulation, we are looking at the platforms which are based in the Netherlands, which is, for instance, Snapchat, Reddit, and Discord. So very interesting party, in my opinion. And they have 1 hour to remove. No questions asked. You don't have to review the material. You need to make it inaccessible within 1 hour. If you don't do that, you might be fined by us. You're liable to get fined by us. That 1 hour actually is being met in a very good day. I've heard Samantha say something about the takedown time for CSAM. That's much longer. We see 89% of the companies are taking it down within 1 hour. If you want to debate the decision, you can do afterwards, but you have to take it down in 1 hour. For CSAM, it's different. We can send out removal orders to any company that's either based in the Netherlands but hosts abroad, or hosts in the Netherlands and is based abroad, or hosts in the Netherlands and is based in the Netherlands, or even in some cases, we can send removal orders to companies that host and base abroad this kind of material. And we can do this to any provider in the chain. So basically what we do, we start at the website, which is the lowest that we can get. If they don't react, or if they don't have a point of contact or whatever, which is of course usually the case, we can then go to the party above, which would then be the hosting party. And if that's in a chain, a reselled hosting company, we can go to the reseller, until we end up at the data center or even at the access provider. We have the possibility to enforce in all of the chain. The removal orders need to be executed in 12 hours, which for me is kind of I wanted it to be shorter, but, try to convince some politicians of that. But 12 hours is okay still. And we can also order them to provide us with information. So basically, if we have this website not complying, we can then go to the hosting company and say, you have to give me the information you have about this company, your customer. If you dive a bit more into the CSA regulation, we can give fines up to 10% of the annual revenue, which is the highest fine you can get in the Netherlands, for not removing the content in time, or not removing it at all, or not providing us the information that's needed. And these fines will be made public. So once you get that fine, you have this naming and shaming effect in it. But of course, again, like I said in the beginning, for us, the most important is to have that conversation with the sector to see how we can clean up the network as well. Then we were supposed to have the duty of care in our legislation. Unfortunately, the DSA prevented that. The Digital Service Act, the duty of care, was a really big debate whether it should be in there or not. Eventually, they decided not to have it in there, and because it's harmonizing legislation in Europe, you cannot have national legislation doing differently. But there's also something like a takedown and stay down order. That's a ruling that has been done by the European Court before. It's something that we could try. We can certainly try it and do it on the same piece of content. So we can say you have to take this image down or this video down, and you have to make sure it stays down. But we might also challenge it and say, well, you have to take this kind of material down and make sure that it stays down as well. That might be challenged in court. We are here to take that gamble because we want to succeed, right? And again, we can take action in the chain. So if somebody doesn't work at the level that we want to, we can then take the next step. In short, this is the legislation. To tell you, I think we all know, Mr. Moran said it, so yeah. We don't have a problem in the Netherlands, do we, with CSAM? No, nothing happening over there. We have sent out our first removal orders. We are now, because we are working with reluctant partners, moving up in that chain. I cannot say too much about it, but we're trying to really close those gaps which are there. As a legislator, and I think, or as a regulator, I think we all know these processes take time, which is different. I come from the hotline. Hotline is swift and fast and do everything. But we as regulators need to really make sure that we do it right, because one mistake and all our work is gone. But I feel that we will succeed, however, in whatever way, and I hope that you will help us do that. Thank you very much.